Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us today on NTA Nationwide. I am Tessie Justin Bisong. It's good to have you. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo is attending the presidential inauguration of President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, taking place today in Kigali, the country's capital. A statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Office of the Vice President, Laolu Akande, says the inauguration, which is expected to be witnessed by several African heads of state and government, follows President Kagame's victory at the August 4 Rwandan presidential election. Professor Osinbajo, who is accompanied by the Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema, is expected back in Abuja later today. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed satisfaction with the steady progress in the global oil market, with the organization of the petroleum exporting countries at the driver's seat. This was when the OPEC Secretary General, Dr. Mohamed Sanusi Barkindo, visited him at the Abuja House in London. The president said he has been following events within OPEC and the oil markets with keen interest and commended the OPEC Secretary General for ensuring effective implementation of the Declaration of Cooperation between OPEC producers and non-producers. Since the assumption of Nigeria's Dr. Mohamed Sanusi Barkindo as OPEC Secretary General in 2016, the international price of crude has appreciated considerably, thereby boosting the revenues of producing countries like Nigeria.
He remains very conversant with the activities of this organization, and I must add that his coming back to office has elevated the profile of Nigeria in OPEC and in the international community.
The Senate President Bukola Saraki and the Speaker Yakubu Dogara were also in London to see the President. Nigeria has joined the world in marking the 2017 World Honey Day with commitment to upscale local production to meet national and international demand. This is coming as the country is set to host the 2018 Global Honey Business Forum in Abuja. Musa Baba Aliyu has details.
World Bee Honey Day is observed annually to honor honeybees and beekeepers for the roles they play in national and international food security and nutrition.
We are hoping that by taking this work, we'll sensitize the public, and then we'll also bring out issues concerning the bee that are of benefit to mankind, so that people will know. Most people think that bees sting, and that's all they know.
Production of the bee venom, most people don't even know that when a bee stings you, it goes to help you in the treatment of arthritis.
Investigations show that Nigeria is currently producing about 15,000 metric tons of honey and 2,500 metric tons of beeswax annually. However, officials of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and that of Trade and Investment say the country has the potentials to produce close to 1 million tons of the commodity.
If Nigeria can produce 1% of the 1.4 million metric tons, that will be realizing $2.4 million annually from the export of honey.
The global honey business trade stands at $7 billion, with annual demand and supply of 1.4 million tons at $5,000 per ton. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Now, as part of efforts to bridge the widening gap of unemployment, the federal government is to embark on a filmmaking project that will engage the youth. This was during a gathering of experts in the creative industry on how to explore the opportunities therein. So Damien has the report.
Bollywood, the largest filmmaking industry in the world, generated $8.1 billion in 2013 and is targeting to contribute about 19% of India's GDP this year. Nigeria, reportedly being the second largest filmmaker in the world, is exploring the industry to reduce the number of unemployed youths while harnessing their skills and talents for economic growth and national development. This informed the endorsement of a filmmaking capacity project.
60 young filmmakers of various categories are selected and camped for 14 days. We will be using film to create advocacy on the following: agriculture as a means of sustainable livelihood, peaceful coexistence by Nigerians, effects of kidnapping, climate change, youth deregulation.
I feel it is an obligation, morally and professionally, to ensure that any projects that should bring our enthusiastic youths into filmmaking should be encouraged.
The opportunities this project will provide are enormous, as it will focus mostly on storytelling, cinematography, lighting, technicians, editing, sound production, and directing. In Abuja, Momsudeme Dati, NTA News.
The Student for Advancement of Global Entrepreneurship Program, SAGE, is one instrument the world has been using to encourage young entrepreneurs for self-reliance. Kolo Mohammed reports that the students of GSS Jokwe in Abuja and those of University of Calabar Demonstration Secondary School who represented Nigeria in the SAGE World Cup in Ukraine earlier this month were hosted by the Director General, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN.
Students for Advancement of Global Entrepreneurship cardinal objectives of community service, entrepreneurship, and emphasis on environmental stewardship. The students presented innovative works in environmental conservation and reduction of production costs for manufacturing industries at the competition in Ukraine. The Director General SMEDAN, who was with them in Ukraine, says the students demonstrated high sense of innovation and responsibility.
This opportunity should be given to Nigerian students at all levels, so that we can have a country that can boast of innovation and creativity, because this is the only place in which you can achieve that.
We made a generator that is being powered with water, and water is priceless. You don't buy water, but the fossil fuel power generators, we buy them, yet they cause harm.
High point of the event was presentation of gifts to the students, their teachers and schools. In Abuja, Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Let's now join Ademola in our Lagos Network Center for stories making the rounds in Lagos and environment. How are you today, Ademola?
Tessie, good afternoon and warm welcome to Lagos. A total of 19 unaccompanied minors and 114 teenagers have returned from Libya, receiving the returnees at the cargo wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. Officials of the National Emergency Management Agency say the returnees will be oriented before their reintegration with members of their families. Abolade Salami has the details.
These were conveyed back to the country via Afriquia Airbus A320 at exactly 6:07 p.m. with 138 on board. One after the other, the returnees made up of 106 teenage girls, 9 male minors, 8 male adults, 3 female children, and 3 infants fired out of the aircraft with an expression of joy and safe return to their fatherland. On ground to receive them were officials of NEMA, members of the International Organization for Migrants, NAPTIP, medical personnel with an ambulance, where one of the returnees was wheeled out for medical attention while others proceed for their profiling. This set of returnees, officials of NEMA and IOM say, are the youngest so far who risked their lives traveling through the Mediterranean Sea in search of greener pasture.
The grass is not greener out there, that is very clear. Those of them that came back, they will tell you what they've gone through. It's hell out there.
And so many of them spent days traveling through the desert. No water, no food, so much, rape, sexual violence.
Some of the returnees narrate their ordeal.
In fact, we can't really say, but we are suffering a lot. Our black people are suffering very, 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 very much.
I wish I was lectured about the journey.
I don't think I would have gone to that journey. It was dreadful. It is estimated that in the last 6 months of this year, over 2,000 Nigerians have died in the process of trying to travel through the Mediterranean Sea. This is why NAPTIP and other agencies are advising young Nigerians to build confidence in their country and take advantage in Lagos. Abolade Salami, NTA News.
The combined military training organized by the United States Air Force Command in Europe in partnership with the Nigerian Air Force has ended in Lagos. The one-week training program is organized to improve personnel skills arrangement for strategies in the Nigerian Air Force C-130H aircraft. There was also a medical outreach for internally displaced people within the Lagos area. Ken Egbeluhe has the details.
Provided opportunity for participating nations to improve proficiency and readiness in various key aviation fields. It also concentrated on capacity building for the aircrew and medical personnel involved in humanitarian and aeromedical evacuation operations. The Chief of Air Staff, who was represented, enjoined the personnel to utilize the skills acquired during the training in the theater of operations.
Participants were also given opportunity to discuss their solutions to an aeromedical evacuation scenario, while building trust and cooperation to achieve common solutions.
We saw a great demonstration not only of the capabilities of the nations that were involved in working on their aeromedical evacuation capability, but also the great partnership amongst the nations that participated.
The Minister of Defense, who was also represented by the Permanent Secretary in the ministry, commended the United States Air Force Command in Europe for the joint military training. He stated that the training will not only build capacity of the Nigerian Air Force personnel, but will also improve personnel in humanitarian operations.
I therefore believe that the platform provided by this program for participants to compare notes would no doubt enhance the achievement of the various joint campaigns your countries are currently engaged in.
Participants also took time to attend to people with medical issues at the internally displaced people camp in Lagos. A total of 88 participants from Nigeria, the Republic of Benin, Chad, Niger, and the United States of America participated in the training. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ordered an interim forfeiture of more than 400 million naira to the federal government. The sum is allegedly linked to a current permanent secretary, Clement Onubogu, of the Federal Ministry of Labor and Productivity. Justice Abdulaziz Anka gave the order in Lagos. Vera Chumaba has the details.
A serving permanent secretary at the Ministry of Labor and Employment was formerly the supervisor in charge of Shopee Technical and Vocational Education, Training and Community Service, Women and Youth Empowerment Programs under the ministry. In a document before the court, EFCC said intelligence report received by the agency indicates that the funds were meant for various Shopee programs under the ministry, which Mr. Onubogu diverted and converted to his personal use. Following this, EFCC counsel Rotimi Oyedapo filed an application urging the court to grant an interim order of forfeiture on the ground that the funds were reasonably suspected to be proceeds of unlawful activity. Justice Abdulaziz Anka of the Federal High Court, in granting the order, also directed EFCC to notify the permanent secretary in whose possession the properties are to appear before the court within 14 days to show cause why the property should not be forfeited to the federal government. Justice Anka also directed that the interim order be published in any national daily newspaper for anyone who may be interested to show cause why the property should not be forfeited to the federal government. Both properties, a hotel and building located in Delta State, belong to the permanent secretary. 15 staff of the ministry who worked under Mr. Onubogu, suspected to have received certain amounts of gratification to the tune of 129 million naira, also forfeited the sum to the federal government. In Lagos, Viera Chinwoba, NTA News.
Well, that's our contribution from Lagos. Is back to you, Tessie, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Ademola, and welcome back to Abuja. Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has been advised to follow the path of negotiations as against the use of incessant strikes. This was the view of guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Lydia Sansim has that report.
The guests decried what they call poor budgetary allocation to education, stressing that Nigeria must get her arts together by investing more in education, as ignorance is more expensive and counterproductive. The strikes began in Nigeria in 1992 for improved facilities and working environment. 25 years down the line, the guests say the improvements recorded came about as a result of previous strikes. But is strike the only way? Isn't it one strike too many?
This idea of strikes is not good for us, it's not good for our students, it's not good for the country.
And I do not imagine that professors in the university will go on strike as a matter of a joke. They are also stakeholders. Their own kids are also in these universities.
It is not really the strike per se that is too many, but it is the attitude of the stakeholders that is actually the major issues.
With universities producing the human resource that feeds other sectors, the guests are optimistic that a change of approach that will be proactive by seeking the support of students and parents in the campaign without interrupting academic activities may produce better and sustainable results for the good of all stakeholders. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Education, Adamu, has appeared before the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund to give an update on progress of negotiations with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The minister expressed optimism that, despite some disagreements, the strike will be called off in a matter of days.
I've already written a letter formalizing the meeting I had with them because I went along with them, and then all agreement we did, I wrote a letter which I gave them yesterday. From the way they received it, Mr. Chairman, I think it is possible that the strike will be called off in a week.
From what he told us, we are happy and we feel impressed by what he's doing, and we do hope, based on what he told us, that the strike will be over within a very short period.
The area of disagreement included a refusal to allow the union to be removed from the Treasury Single Account TSA, among others, although negotiations are making headway. Effective synergy among key players in the education sector could help build the desired generation and a stronger nation. This was the unanimous decision of stakeholders at the 13th Biennial Conference of Student Work Experience Scheme series. Close collaboration was identified as a way out, resolving challenges of the scheme. Minister of State, Trade and Investment Aisha Abubakar, in her message at the event, acknowledged Students' Work Experience Scheme as a veritable platform in the government economic transformation drive.
Given government's posture to bring about economic recovery and growth and also generate employment, the upgrading of our educational curriculum through an articulated process of developing our young men and women in their various fields of endeavor cannot be overemphasized.
We are all aware that the CWES is a very laudable scheme and has the capacity to impact positively on our educational curriculum. We must build a new generation of hands-on Nigerians. We must be able to ensure that CWES survives and survives even beyond our generation. This we can only do by ensuring that as we gather here, we are able to come up with concrete realities and challenges to resolve and to address challenges to resolve this all-important scheme.
Moving ahead, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime says it will continue to support the fight against corruption in Nigeria. The project coordinator, Mr. Polik Oksere, stated this while donating 65 different books on corruption to the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, in Abuja. Joseph Oro completes the report.
The books include The Quest for Good Governance, Corruption Prevention Training Manual, Whistleblowing, When It Works and Why, and Political Corruption Concepts and Contents. They were specifically donated to the Anti-Corruption Academy of the ICPC in appreciation of the agency's fight against corruption.
And all this with the generous contribution of the European Union for their funding. I mean, chief of them is this one, which is the ACAN Corruption Prevention Training Manual.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission noted that the books will further assist the Commission to effectively manage knowledge with a competitive advantage in its responsibility to prevent and tackle corruption in Nigeria.
I have had this collaboration for a very long time now, and we have also been recipients of multiple benefits from the UNODC. Well, we've received support from your staff, from your colleagues, and it has helped us to even build internal capacity of our staff. So we're looking forward to making proper use of this manner.
Joseph Orok, NTA News.
In a related development, the fight against corruption has continued to gain momentum, with more groups not only joining the war, but also making deliberate efforts to perfect strategies of curbing the menace. Basi Itaikbang was at one of such fora where understanding different manifestations and adopting evidence-based anti-corruption measures were discussed.
Nigeria's development, stagnation and challenges are fingered at corruption, which is said to have hindered professionalism and eroded the values of hard work and honesty. Corruption is, however, not finding it easy in Nigeria these days, as governments, groups and individuals continue to fight the menace with every available arsenal. This meeting of stakeholders from the law enforcement agencies, civil societies and the judiciary at the instance of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes and the National Bureau of Statistics is another of such efforts to seek ways of curtailing corruption in the society.
Yeah, Nigeria has done fantastic progress in fighting corruption, and we were talking about all the different measures that the different anti-corruption agencies have been taking. And we just were launching the first household survey, which is the very first time that we have a survey on corruption.
So in terms of recovery, in terms of international perception, in terms of the will, this government has done very well.
The meeting is also taking stock of achievements under the EU-funded support for anti-corruption in Nigeria. The 5-year project, which commenced in 2012, seeks to promote good governance and enhance transparency. Speakers at this event agreed that the federal government is seriously fighting corruption in all ramifications, but requires the cooperation of all for the fight to be successful. In Abuja, Basi Itaikbang, NTA News.
It's now time to pause for some messages. Nationwide continues in a moment. Stay with us.
National Council for Arts and Culture, Abuja presents 10th African Arts Crafts Expo, AFAC Expo 2017, the biggest arts and crafts expo in Africa. Theme, Nigerian crafts, the untapped treasure. Date, 27th August to 17th September 2017. Venue, Arts and Crafts Village, beside Sheraton Hotel and Yaradua Center, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. AFAC presents a unique platform for artists, crafts dealers, manufacturers and other stakeholders to buy, sell and promote products from Nigeria and other African countries. For more information, please call Chinwe on 0803-321-7724, Gerald on 0802-3345-301. National Council for Arts and Culture, our culture, our pride. Otumba Olusegun Wonshewe, Director General, Announcement.
Sharon Ultimate Hotels, Abuja. The ultimate place to be.
Marriage is a union between a spouse and the spouse of the spouse and the family of the spouse.
You're not only married to your husband, but to his brothers and sisters.
Oh yes, but only where that is sensibly convenient. Don't get it twisted. Marriage is as sweet as you make your home for your partner. He or she is not your slave or a workhorse, there to serve your brothers, sisters, and relatives to her own detriment or his own detriment.
It is foolery of you to have allowed your family members cause catastrophic quagmire of epic proportions in your marriage.
So says Professor John Bull, your rib-cracking comedy in this episode titled Married to Family.
They want to take advantage of my phenomena.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
Get ready for the Diaspora Festival, Badagry, Lagos, as we welcome diasporans.
Our ancestors walked through the door of no return. Now we walk through the door of return.
And also to celebrate the cultural heritage of Nigeria. Theme, Voyage to Heritage, featuring a lot of exciting activities like the historic Door of Return ceremony, carnival procession, boat regatta, dark era procession, fishing competition, heritage site visits, international music concert, an international symposium, themed African diaspora beyond the Atlantic, and lots more. Date, 23rd to 25th of August 2017. For sponsorship and more information, please call. Come and join the Voyage to Heritage. See you there.
Experience the beauty of life and nature like never before. With the new StarTimes Full HD 1080p Real High Definition TV. Enjoy an exquisite super slim design with a real surround sound experience. Watch the biggest blockbusters on over 200 plus channels. Available in 32 and 40 inches from 69,900 Naira at leading shopping outlets across the country. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Reorganized, trained, and fully equipped. We are the new improved Nigeria Police Force. We fight crime. We bust syndicates. Whatever the crime, wherever the hideout, the Nigeria Police Force will get you busted. Stop kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, pipeline vandalism, and other criminal activities. Be productive. Be security conscious. Join the police force to secure your life and property. This message is from the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Department.
For over 25 years, I have been privileged to anchor various programs on television. But the news program that I find most exciting and challenging is The Weekend File. This is largely because of its philosophy of engaging all classes of people, the artisans, politicians, technocrats, captains of industry, and professional analysts on issues that touch all aspects of life and living. In the conversations that follow, you find complexities, different views, ideologies, thought patterns, and individual beliefs. It's quite engaging. We do this Saturdays on NTA Network Service at 9 p.m. It's Weekend File, but you call it Weekend Companion, and it's all about nation building. Join me, Kirian Umayo, and production crew every Saturday for this weekend treat, and I can tell you that it is unmissable. Make it a day.
Welcome back. You're still watching Nationwide, coming to you on the network service of the NTA. The federal government of Nigeria has signed about 20 funding agreements with the European Union for the training and capacity building of its personnel in various sectors of the nation's development. The justice sector forms a major part of these agreements. This was revealed at an event in Abuja to evaluate the NNODC project support to the justice sector in Nigeria. Femi Okewo has more.
Since December 2012, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, through the funding of the European Union, EU, has embarked on a support to the justice project in Nigeria, covering the police, the judiciary, and the prisons. Now that program is winding up after 5 years. But rather than allow the achievements of the justice sector fizzle out with the closure of the project, the federal government has gone into further partnership with the international donor partners.
And support to the justice sector is a continuous exercise, and it's not something that is stopping.
With new challenges emerging for the federal government in the justice sector and the fight against corruption, Special Advisor to the President on Prosecution says Nigeria needs all the assistance it can get from international bodies.
Under the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, there is provisions for setting up of multiplicities of anti-corruption agencies. So all of us will complement one another.
Although there is yet more ground to be covered in the improvement of the justice sector in Nigeria, the last 5 years has seen a great leap for the justice sector through the support for the justice sector by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Aisha Al-Hassan, says the 160 released Chibok girls are set for school next month and are in sound health and fully reintegrated into the society. She stated this at a media briefing in Abuja. Talatu Ezirike reports.
New phase of life through collaborations for the initial 24 abducted Chibok girls who escaped captivity. They have received remedial trainings at the American University of Nigeria and ready to study courses like medicine and accounting, a feat highly applauded. Next is the released and escaped 106 Chibok girls. Minister of Women Affairs says the girls have received top-class medical care with clean bill of health, provided with psychosocial support to erase unpleasant memories and traumatic experiences, and have fully reintegrated in the society.
Through rigorous and extensive time with social workers, counselors, and psychologists, the girls are now looking forward to a bright and promising future. Rather than suffer any form of stigmatization, the girls have become survivors and she rose in their own right.
The minister notes that negotiation is still on for the release of the remaining girls, as she prays that God touches the hearts of the terrorists to release the girls. For the Chibok parents chairman, it is immense gratitude for the reintegration of the girls. Nigerians, especially the media, are advised to help in the healing process through positive reportage. Talati Ezirike, NTA News.
Preserving the cultural heritage of any nation is fundamental in promoting peaceful coexistence. Some members of the National Assembly stated this at an event in Gbagi, in the Federal Capital Territory, where a statue portraying the dignity of the woman was unveiled. Suraj Abdullahi brings us that report.
It was a cheerful moment in Masaka, Karuluku government area, as the unveiling of the statue was conducted before thousands of Gbagi nationals and members of the National Assembly from Gbagi extraction of Abuja and Nasarawa State. Stakeholders at the occasion emphasized the need for strengthening the bond of unity and preserving the cultural heritage of their forefathers. The statue, a symbol of Gbagi strength and industry, was constructed by Gbagi Youth Association under the sponsorship of Representative Jonathan Befi Gaza, was pledged to be duplicated in all the Gbagi communities of FCT and Nasarawa State.
We are blessed and ordained by God, and that is why God placed us in the center of this great nation called Nigeria.
With what I have seen here today, and let me assure you, me and Philip are going to do the same in them.
All those us who have done this, people will copy from them, not only by building the statue, let's practice our culture in our houses.
The representative also inaugurated some projects in the area. From Kafi, Suraj Abdullahi, NTA News.
Federal Ecological Team inspects flood-prone areas. Let's join Kemi in Ibadan for these and more. It's over to you, Kemi.
Thank you, Tessie. Good afternoon and welcome to Ibadan. The federal government has set up a committee on ecological fund to go around some states affected by flood with a view to averting future occurrence. Correspondent Adebola Gulano reports that Governor Biola Jimobi received the team in Ibadan.
Floods in Nigeria had done more harm in some parts of the country. In Ibadan, Oyo State capital, some parts recently also experienced flood due to lack of proper planning, indiscriminate dumping of refuse and other environmental factors. And to avert future occurrence of flood in the states, the federal government has set up an ecology trust fund to go around the states to inspect and enlighten the public on how to guide against the reoccurrence of flood. The team, led by Lawrence Ojabo, visited some areas within Ibadan metropolis.
We are collecting the information both pictorially and visually, and they will give us more detailed information about the scope of these problems, efforts that have been made to remedy them, and then the kind of technical intervention that is required.
We have almost about 60 fresh lists, and I'm very sure that they're going to work within the recent list we submitted.
The inspection is expected to go around the whole of Oyo State with the intervention to restructure and create water channels in Ibadan. Adebola Ogolano, NTA News.
The Kwara State government says it will leave no stone unturned to enhance the fortunes of its farmers and improve agriculture and allied business in the state. The state governor, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, stated this in Ilorin while hosting the delegation of the Bank of Agriculture in his office.
Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed described agriculture as the most viable and sustainable alternative to oil revenue, noting that the state will continue to take advantage of a suitable environment to boost commercial agriculture.
With the current effort of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and indeed for us in the state, we see this partnership truly moving us from the current level we are today to the desired level of commercial agriculture.
The governor thereby called for Bank of Agriculture support in the area of value addition to prevent post-harvest wastage. The managing director, who was represented by the bank's executive director, finance and risk management, Niyi Akenzua, disclosed that federal government is set to recapitalize Bank of Agriculture to support subsistence farmers and increase their outputs.
We want to create jobs for our teeming youths, unemployed youths, rural women, and we want to, of course, diversify sources of foreign exchange for the federal government.
He said, as a state with a sound agri support initiative, the bank is ready to expand its collaboration with Kwara State government in the area of finance and other logistics.
For Nigeria and other African countries to move from a consumption to producing nations, they must diversify the economy from oil to industrialization. A former regional director in the United Nations Habitat, Professor Banji Oyelaro, made the remark while delivering the first governance lecture endowed by Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetono, Awujale of Ijebuland. Correspondent Yemi Dalimo reports from the Olabisi Onabanjo University Agoiwe venue of the lecture.
Delivering the lecture entitled From Consumption to Production, Roadmap for Getting Nigeria Out of Economic Recession, Professor Oyeyinka observed that prior to 1986, Nigeria earned more than half of its revenue from agricultural commodity exports, mainly cocoa, groundnuts, palm oil, and palm kernel. but the introduction and failure of the Structural Adjustment Program in Africa transformed Nigeria to a consuming nation.
We need to take practical steps to ensure that we incentivize people to go back to agriculture and processing of agriculture, and then begin to deepen our manufacturing sector.
The role of government is to provide what we call that conducive environment for local production.
Educated people will be more productive because they have greater understanding even on the production line.
The lecture builds on the inaugural outing to inside the professorial chair located in the Department of Political Science, Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwe, into the mainstream of national and global discourse on sustainable development. In Ichebudi, Yemidalemo, NTA News.
Report from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, indicates that the institution's academic staff are yet to join the ongoing strike called by the national body of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. Rotimi Akamo has the situation report from the campus.
Situations at the Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife depicts that the members of the academic staff unions of the university, ASU, of the institution did not join the ongoing nationwide strike of the union. Sequence to these academic activities are going on at the university at the first semester examinations for the year 2017-2018 academic year continued without any hindrance.
Because we started the exams actually, and it doesn't affect OAU in any way.
We're told that ASU Obafemi Awolowo branch is actually not joining, considering the fact that we started the exams, so as not to disrupt it, but we don't know what will happen after our exams.
All efforts to see the two factional leaders of the union at the university, Dr. Niyi Sumanu and Dr. Caleb Aborisade, to speak on the issue proved abortive as their offices were under lock and key. From the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Rotimi Akama, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. It's back to you, Tessie.
Thank you. Moving ahead, Africans, wherever they find themselves, have been advised to come together for the development of the continent. Special advisor to the president on diaspora, Abike Dabiri, gave the advice when she played host to members of the Oyotunji village in South Carolina, USA. Basi Ita Ikbang reports.
The visit of the Oyotunji members basically was to invite Nigerian governments and people to the Oyotunji festival at the United States of America. The leader of the team said the festival is aimed at bringing together Africans and Black Americans to celebrate the Yoruba culture and for the deep understanding of the prospect in Nigeria.
Playing the key role of the ambassador of the Yoruba Nigerian culture. Enlightening the African Americans and people of African descent.
The senior special assistant to the president on foreign affairs and diaspora expressed readiness to collaborate with them in showcasing the untapped resources in Nigeria.
And so this is very instructive. And you know what? Wherever you are in the world, as long as you're Black, when you're an African. So there's no better time than now for Nigeria to take the lead in bringing together diasporans from all over the world.
She intimated them of the upcoming Diaspora Festival in Badagry, aimed at encouraging diasporans to invest in Nigeria. Basi Taipa, NTA News.
We'll now take another break. We'll be right back.
Marriage is a union between a spouse and the spouse of the spouse and the family of the spouse.
You're not only married to your husband, but to his brothers and sisters.
Oh yes, but only where that is sensibly convenient. Don't get it twisted. Marriage is as sweet as you make your home for your partner. He or she is not your slave or a workhorse, there to serve your brothers, sisters, and relatives to her own detriment or his own detriment.
It is foolery of you to have allowed your family members cause catastrophic quagmire of epic proportions in your marriage.
So says Professor John Bull, your rib-cracking comedy in this episode titled Married to Family.
They want to take advantage of my Philomena.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow, the largest data network. Glow Unlimited.
Get ready for the Diaspora Festival, Badagry, Lagos, as we welcome diasporans.
Our ancestors walked through the door of no return. Now we walk through the door of return.
And also to celebrate the cultural heritage of Nigeria. Theme, Voyage to Heritage, featuring a lot of exciting activities like the historic Door of Return ceremony, carnival procession, boat regatta, dark era procession, fishing competition, heritage site visits, international music concert, an international symposium, themed African diaspora beyond the Atlantic, and lots more. Date, 23rd to 25th of August 2017. For sponsorship and more information, please call. Come and join the Voyage to Heritage. See you there.
Experience the beauty of life and nature like never before. With the new StarTimes Full HD 1080p Real High Definition TV. Enjoy an exquisite super slim design with a real surround sound experience. Watch the biggest blockbusters on over 200 plus channels. Available in 32 and 40 inches from 69,900 Naira at leading shopping outlets across the country. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Reorganized, trained, and fully equipped, we are the new improved Nigeria Police Force. We fight crime. We bust syndicates. Whatever the crime, wherever the hideout, the Nigeria Police Force will get you busted. Stop kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, pipeline vandalism, and other criminal activities. Be productive. Be security conscious. Join the police force to secure your life and property. This message is from the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Department.
For over 25 years, I have been privileged to anchor various programs on television. But the news program that I find most exciting and challenging is The Weekend File. This is largely because of its philosophy of engaging all classes of people, the artisans, politicians, technocrats, captains of industry, and professional analysts on issues that touch all aspects of life and living. In the conversations that follow, you find complexities, different views, ideologies, thought patterns, and individual beliefs. It's quite engaging. We do this Saturdays on NTA Network Service at 9 p.m. It's Weekend File, but you call it Weekend Companion, and it's all about nation building. Join me, Kirian Umayo, and production crew every Saturday for this weekend treat, and I can tell you that it is unmissable. Make it a day.
Thanks for being there. The act of sacrifice, compassion, love, and honesty is said to be the panacea for building close relationship with Allah, which will in turn enhance togetherness and unity among society. Deputy Chief Imam of Abuja National Mosque, Malam Muhammad Kabir, stated this while delivering sermon on today's Jumat prayers. He said, Allah is pleased with those who sacrifice on behalf of others for the unity and progress of the society. While encouraging Muslims to take advantage of the month of sacrifice and pray fervently for the growth and development of Nigeria.
Message. First of all, I call on Nigerians to pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue preserving our country for us. I also call on them to pray for peaceful coexistence of this country. And I also call on Nigerians to continue intensify praying and supplication for our President General Alhaji Muhammad Buhari for a quick recovery and self-return to Nigeria and continue with his duty.
The chief imam later led the congregation to the 2 rakat prayers. A ministerial delegation from Denmark is in Nigeria to discuss collaboration between the 2 countries in various sectors, as well as how to deal with illegal migration. The delegation was at the Foreign Affairs Ministry to meet with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Correspondent Makut Simon Macham reports.
Bilateral relations between Nigeria and Denmark have been on the upward swing, just as trade relations have grown significantly over the years. Additionally, Denmark is recognizing Nigeria's role in promoting regional stability and ending conflicts in Africa. At this meeting between Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema and Danish delegation led by Ministers of Development Cooperation, Immigration and Integration, modalities for strengthening investment and economic cooperation between Nigeria and Denmark were top on the agenda.
Nigeria is a very important partner for Denmark. It is an important partner in relation to trade, which I hope we can strengthen in the very near future.
This meeting is significant to the extent that it addresses key issues concerning the relations between the 2 countries. First, the issue of migration and indeed the intervention in the northeast concerning displaced persons.
In addition to addressing the irregular migration question, we're also looking at the skills development and the empowerment of these migrants and what programs the 2 of us, 2 countries, can put together.
So this is very important to us, and as the Honourable Minister has mentioned, we've discussed positive ways of having a safe, regular and orderly migration, and then as well as having a dignified return. If our nationals are going to be brought back to the country, they should be brought back in a very dignified manner.
The 2 sides agreed to meet regularly to sustain the momentum of the warm relations both countries enjoy at the moment. From the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Abuja, I am Makut Simon Macham, NTA News.
The Ogun State Police Command has challenged residents of the state to divulge useful information to the command on criminally minded people for prompt action. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Ahmed Ilyas, gave the challenge while speaking to journalists shortly before the parade of the 55 suspects alleged to have committed various crimes across the state. Hakim Jimo has the report.
55 in all, the suspects were paraded for crimes allegedly committed such as armed robbery, cultism, rape, kidnapping, ritual killings.
We do apologize for the visuals. And now to sports. Home-based Super Eagles vow to beat their Bennois counterparts in Kano Saturday as public primary schools in Kwara State receive sports equipment. Ayodeji Makinde is our guide on sports update.